Okay, so this is the file that you shared with me. Let me change the layout to the Blender default layout. I'm much more comfortable with that. Okay, so I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to select inverse, and I'll delete everything else because we are concerned with only these two things. And what I'll do is another thing, whatever keys I'm going to press are going to be visible in this region, left region. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate these two, the plane and the mug. I'm not going to do anything with this. Whatever I'm going to do is I'll do it with these duplicates. Okay, so the first thing that I would change is I would remove the subdivision surface because it is an overkill for this. Let me show you. Instead of using subdivision surface, what I'll prefer is that you add vertical loop cuts by Control R and then scrolling your mouse. Okay, and then click, right click, and then commit. So this has to change a little bit. Okay, okay. So you can see now what I'm going to do is I'll show you the comparison. There are two planes in the scene. One is with subdivision surface and Shrinkwrap modifier. Another one is with vertical loop cuts with Shrinkwrap modifier. So let's hide everything else other than this plane with Shift H. Okay, this is the plane with subdivision surface modifier. Okay, so if we check the polygon count of this plane, the one with subdivision surface modifier, it has 4096 faces, and that's too much for just a simple plane. Let me unhide everything else. So remember the count of this plane, 4096. Let's see the count of this. I'm going to select this face, this plane, and I'm going to click Shift H to hide everything else other than this plane. Now I'm going to check the polygon count, and the polygon count faces are 28. There are two planes in the scene. Both look the same. There's not much difference between the two. The twist comes is when we select this and right click shade smooth. You can see the shading issue. The lines that you were seeing are gone. Whereas in this case, when you shade smooth, you still see the lines. It is because of the dense geometry in this region. I'll just explain it to you. Um, I'll remove the optimal display. Okay. I'll just explain to you why these lines are appearing on your model on the plane. I'll change the matcap to this reflective. Now you can see this line. These are because of the dense geometry. What I mean by that is you can see wherever these lines are, just keep an eye on this line, and I will enable wireframe mode. You can see these two edges are much closer as you can see these two edges are much closer as compared to this, right? So if I go into this region and if I switch off the wireframe mode, you can see there is this line that is pretty visible. This is a shading issue. So when I enable the wireframe mode, you can see the edges are very close to each other. This means the geometry is dense, and that is why we are having this shading issue. Now let me switch back to the normal shading mode. So removing the subdivision surface from this plane and adding vertical cuts, it solved your issue. And the reason I prefer using a vertical cut as compared to, let me show you, as compared to subdivision surfaces, we are using these vertical cuts to warp the plane around the on the surface of the mug, whereas these horizontal loops, they are serving no purpose. They're there just to increase the poly count of the scene. They're not being used in any way, so they're just rudimentary. You have to find a way to get rid of these because these are going to add to the render time of your scene. So you can see this is the one with 28 poly count, 28 faces, whereas this 4096 faces. So this is what I would like to change in your scene, and nothing much to change. That's it. The plane appears purple or pink. The reason is that you didn't pack the texture. So I'm going to just add a random image mug, and it looks the same without the shading issues. So I hope you found the video helpful, and if you face any issue in future with anything else related to Blender, you can contact me anytime. Have a great day.